doing my hands down here now because I do it up here. It's like, oh, you ready for a match? All right. All right. Good morning. Thank you all so much for being here with us as we are preparing for Tropical Storm Sally. It is still on the track and plans to, when she makes landfall, to be a Cat 1. I'm standing here and joined with our Director of Homeland Security, Mr. Colin Arnold, Ramsey Green, Deputy CEO of Infrastructure, our Superintendent of Police, Mr. Sean Ferguson, and Colonel Terry Ebert, who is the Director of Public Safety and Homeland Security for the City of New Orleans. Overnight, the track of this storm shifted east. Well, seems to be better news for us. However, we're continuing to monitor its track. It is moving slowly. And so, again, having to be very fluid as it relates to this, particularly in terms of the rain impact. But it can, again, easily move back. Forecasts are not certain where the landfall will be, but it is definitely in the path of the city of New Orleans. There is still risk associated in terms of excessive rainfall and strong winds locally, and we're seeing that most will occur. Winds later on this afternoon up until Tuesday, excessive rainfall through Wednesday. There is possibility that we will see 24 to 36 hours of rainfall, anywhere from 10 to 15 inches, which could definitely accelerate. When you think about the rainfall and you know where we live and how our system operates, and not just with the Sewage and Water Board of pumping water out, but even in the green infrastructure that we have been so focused on in our city, even as it relates to catch basins, making sure that drainage canals are even drained appropriately. Residents in New Orleans East, you'll see, if you haven't noticed already, the canals in the east are lower than usual because, again, we took this as a mitigation effort to drain those canals on the front end in preparation for the massive rainfall that we do anticipate and expect in the city of New Orleans. We need all of our residents to please do your part. Catch basins in your area, making sure that they are free from any garbage, trash, debris, you name it. If you see any trees that need attention, please contact 311 so that we can mitigate those issues as soon as possible. We're working as hard and as fast as possible, given the timeline relative to Sally. Public safety agencies stand ready to assist and to respond as necessary. We have been very proactive in our approach, a unified command. Of course, it includes all of our partners from the Louisiana National Guard, the Coast Guard, Army Corps of Engineers, and the like. We have 61st Troop Command with our Louisiana National Guard here on site again and is ready and prepared. So this is all in tight coordination with our local, state, federal, and regional partners. I just remain in constant contact with my parish presidents around the Southeast Louisiana coastline. We're in this together, as we say. We know that 99 out of 99 of our drainage pumps are actively ready and able to respond. Again, the canals in the east, we've drained them significantly in preparation for lots of rainfall. I want to encourage our residents, also our visitors, our evacuees. If you have yet to do so, please text Sally to 888-777. We have received over 7,000 people in our community at this time that have signed up in 24 hours. So people are listening and they are responding. This also speaks, this is that special needs registry is what I'm talking about. So we're wanting to make sure we're prepared as possible to meet the needs of all of our people. Trash collection, as we stated on yesterday, it definitely did happen today as scheduled and planned. However, for tomorrow, Tuesday, we have canceled scheduled pickups. Tuesday cancellation will be resumed on Friday. So missing you on Tuesday, do not, be afraid. We're going to come back on Friday to collect your trash. In the meantime, keep that trash from outside. If you can pull it in, please do so we don't have those cans floating and therefore trash and debris really working against us as we're trying to drain the city as fast as we receive the rain. You know that there are stipulations regarding that, so we're just trying to do the best that we can to prepare our city for a lot of rainfall. Without further ado, I'm going to ask my Director of Homeland Security to come forward, give you more information. You'll hear from other leaders, and we'll ask questions and answers as we always will answer questions as we always do. So with that, Mr. Collin.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So as the mayor spoke to, this has gone a little bit east. That's encouraging in a way, but what is, still very much unknown about Sally is, the speed, slow, that's not good for us. And then it's wobbly, the direction is a little uncertain. So we really just need to continue to watch it, and the residents need to stay weather aware and continue to watch it too. As the mayor said, it could mean fewer impacts, but it could also mean that we're going to have the same impacts that the Weather Service is still talking about, which is a lot of rain. So heavy rain, high winds, and then the storm surge is already starting to occur. So as we're seeing along the Gulf Coast right now. And it's still out there. So we've got more to go with this, and we've got several high tides to continue that we'll deal with. And so they're outside of levee protection. The mandatory evacuation has occurred. Appreciate Chief Ferguson in the 7th District. They've made a lot of contacts out there with talking to people, making sure they knew that the floodgate Highway 90 would be closing. I just received word before we walked in here that it is in fact closed now. So that's the Textron gate out before Venetian Isles. So it is closed now, and the residents out there should be evacuated. Also from the Flood Protection Authority East, all of the Lakeshore Drive gates are closing. The surge barrier, Seabrook, they're all closing, and the pump control stations out there along the lake are now manned and ready for operation. The mayor mentioned the trash for Tuesday's canceled. We'll catch you on Friday. Parking restrictions are lifted. Driving in, saw many people have taken advantage of that. Please just be responsible with parking on higher ground. Don't block bike paths. Do your best not to block sidewalks, driveways, intersections, and streetcar tracks. And then, high winds can cause power outages. So you need to charge your devices. You need to have your fridge, lower your fridge temperature. Have a flashlight ready, not candles. And if you rely on power for medical devices, please call 311 and sign up for the Special Needs Registry. And that's about it for us. We're activated in the EOC to level 1. As of 7 o'clock this morning, everybody's upstairs working now, and we'll continue that 24/7 until this is over. So,
thank you so much, Colin. So
Ram-
we'll hear from Ramsey Green. All right.
Ramsey.
Social distance dance. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Colin. Just the mayor covered so much, which is great. On some general infrastructure items, we are looking at a very big rain event, and that's where our team is really focused right now. Just some other issues. RTA, they're suspending streetcar and bus at noon today. They've got to pre-position their vehicles. They need a little time to do that. Ferry suspension occurred last night. If you have an appointment for a paratransit appointment, you're going to get it rescheduled if it's scheduled for tomorrow or Wednesday morning. Public Works, as we've been saying, all maintenance crews are operating vac trucks right now or getting ready to deploy barricades, move anything out in the street that needs to be moved. If you see folks on the side of the road, if you are outside, look out for them. They're going to wear PPE. On my drive this morning, I saw a sanitation crew clearing trash cans on one of our main streets. If you see bulk debris, anything on the side of the road that's yours, that's your construction sites, everybody who has an open city permit as of yesterday received an email from the city saying, secure your job site, secure your job site. We cannot stress that enough. You take care of this stuff now. We do not have to put people into responding to those items after or during a storm. We do not want to do that. Secure your job site. The city's also working with the owner of Hard Rock to ensure that their plan is underway. They had a meeting at 11 a.m. this morning to ensure that that is happening. We covered sanitation. Any debris removal contractor is ready in the event this goes in a direction where we're just worst case scenario preparing for. Parks and Parkways is out there responding to tree emergencies. They will continue to do so today. So if you see a limb tied up with an energy power line, call 311, report it. Our team will be out there. The mayor mentioned the canals in New Orleans East. They're low. They're pumping. 5 of 5 EMDs are available, which is a big deal. That's the electromotive diesel generators at the Sewage and Water Board Carrollton plant. If you live in the Holly Grove neighborhood, be prepared in the next 24 hours. You're going to hear a bunch of noise when those things get powered on. 99 and 99 drainage pumps and power, as best as we can have it at the moment, is ready to go. Entergy, please follow Entergy. They're going to give you a text that says if your power is out, it's at Entergy. Mayor, I don't know if you want to cover the airport. We had some airport stuff too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Airport is normal operations. They have staff going through the night overall. The only airline that is canceled is Southwest Airlines. After 1 p.m. today, all flights canceled through Wednesday afternoon around midday. That's all I had. Thank you so much, Mayor.
And any other cancellations as it relates to MSY, that comes from the airlines themselves. I know that they're meeting actually right now about that, and we'll keep you updated as time moves on. Superintendent Ferguson, you want to come?
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Good morning, everyone. New Orleans Police Department remains prepared and ready to assist where needed throughout this storm event. We will be operating at full staff, meaning all of our commission personnel will be at work. We are currently working on a 12-hour shift beginning at 7 a.m. this morning. Fortunately, all of our unused assets and preparations made for the previous hurricanes, Marco and Laura, last month, put us in a good position for readiness for Sally right now. Our equipment has been tested. Our boats, high water vehicles, stake body vehicles are all good to go. Our barricades are ready if we need to implement Operation Underpass, and the backup generators at the various stations have been tested. I would like to encourage our citizens to remain shelter in place if necessary. Do not drive through any standing water. Do not drive in any through any underpasses that may have water. You will put yourself as well as our first responders in a position of having to assist, and we do not need to put anyone in an awkward or dangerous position unnecessarily. The less you put yourself at risk, is the less likely you put our officers or our first responders at risk. Make sure your family, your loved ones, especially your elderly neighbors, check on them, make sure that they are equipped with everything that is needed over the next few days. And because of COVID-19, please make sure you have everything that's needed with regards to gloves, hand sanitizers, as well as masks. We still have to be vigilant to not spread this virus. And as always, we know there are individuals who will try to take advantage of this opportunity in this vulnerable state. So please, just know that the New Orleans Police Department is there. We will be out there throughout this entire event, and we are discouraging. We're going to definitely enforce any individuals who try to commit some crimes, such as looting or anything of that event. We will not tolerate that. That behavior will not be accepted. Together, we all will work, as always, and stand fast as the city that we are together and get through this too together. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. All right. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and I have a strong team. Colonel, you want to come on and give a few words?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a couple words. Try to be brief. One, this organization in this city works 365 days a year to be able to perform the functions that we're going to perform over these next 48 hours. I can assure you that they're trained, they're equipped, they know how to do their job, And I want to thank in particular the over 60 or 70 regional, state, and federal partners that go into making this team a cohesive organization needed to handle a major emergency. We're prepared. You've heard all the staff ask you as individuals, citizens, and visitors to this city to do your part by following the things that we have put out that we think are important to the safety of you, your family, your property. So I know that we know how to do this. I know that you as citizens know how to do this, and we'll perform these functions together. Good luck, and we're looking forward to seeing the other end, and I know we will. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you so much. And you should know that the City of New Orleans, City Hall will remain open until we're saying 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, we're giving my leaders, my directors, the ability to determine who they can release after that hour. We're wanting to make sure that we can stage city vehicles, as many as possible, in our garages. So, for example, the VA is now ours, and so we've been very creative in terms of how we utilize these new assets. And so we're wanting to keep all of our assets free from any water damage. I would encourage residents to think about that as well. Think about garages that are available throughout the city of New Orleans, particularly in the CBD, if you want to go ahead and just park your vehicle to make sure that you'll have it and accessible once this storm passes our way. And that's all I really have at this time, and we'll take questions that'll pull out more information. Ms. Latoya?
Yes, Madam Mayor, WWNO.
I'm wondering, given this is going to possibly create a lot of rain and flooding, in the worst case scenario, if a bunch of people get flooded out in the city, are there any measures going to be made available to them, like housing or anything like that?
Well, first of all, immediately following it's about rescue, and getting people out of harm's way. And so we will respond as needed based on as we get and we hear from our people right and immediately after. That's one of the reasons why we ask and we actually have a special needs registry so that we're able to respond in real time, but also know who our first responders should be attending to on the front end. But in regards of housing and the like, we'll get to that as we move through the initial mission of rescue, search and rescue, if needed.
The lens.
Given the lower capacity of some of the homeless shelters due to the coronavirus, what's the plan for people who are still currently unsheltered homeless?
Sure. Well, no, thank you for that. Our homeless healthcare workers and all of our homeless partners have been out in the field, actually starting early this morning, talking with those residents, trying to get them into housing, and some don't want to go, but they need to go and get out of harm's way. As of right now, all of our partners, our shelters, we have the capacity that we need to meet the need of all of our people. And so until I hear otherwise, there's no issue at this time. In addition to that, our evacuees that we're also sheltering here in the city in direct communication with Red Cross, who are the administrators, but also we have broken down the resource center for today. It's closed today. Tomorrow it will reopen once this storm passes. However, the direct level of communication is in place as it relates to our evacuees, and they are embedded, meaning Red Cross, embedded in our EOC as well.
Could I follow up? Sure. My understanding was that even just going into the hurricane, there weren't enough shelter beds to house all the unsheltered homeless in the city. Has that capacity been expanded, or even before this hurricane there was capacity? I'm trying to.
Sure. So even as we were preparing for Laura, we had the capacity needed to shelter our homeless, particularly those who are still on the street, which is a limited number. really it's limited because we have been able to get our street homeless into hotels, in the city of New Orleans. So right now, as I have been in communication with our homeless partners and of course, the health department with the city of New Orleans who oversees this aspect, we believe that we have capacity. And if that changes, we will make changes as well to meet that need.
The advocate?
Madam Mayor and maybe Colin, can you talk a little bit about the impact the rain that this is going to have on the city of New Orleans and give residents some of what they can expect or how quickly Sewage and Water Board will be able to pump water out of the city, even if all of the pumps are working?
Sure. And thank you for that question because the thing is, even at being at full capacity, the threat of rainfall, and particularly this heavy rainfall that we're anticipating, anywhere between 10 to 15 inches, which can grow into several feet, I'm told. And so we also understand that it's not just the Sewage and Water Board, but it's a system as a whole. And we do anticipate our systems working, even the large, not only the drainage canals that we freed up so they can take on more water, but even the green infrastructure projects that we have that can hold millions of gallons of water. I'm going to ask Ramsey Green, my Deputy CEO of Infrastructure, to speak on it, and then I'll also ask my Director of Homeland Security as well. But on the front end of this, I'm going to put it on that infrastructure side, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mayor. And Jessica, if I want to respond add one thing, Mayor, if I can.
Yeah.
The lens gentleman, I think that's Michael, you asked a question about homeless. Remember, what we're doing now is a bridge to a expanded low barrier shelter, which the mayor initiated right when the pandemic broke out. We're delivering that online first quarter of 2021, going from around 100 plus beds to about 300. So this is a bridge to get there. Jessica, to your question, we've been through this, and we haven't been through this in a pandemic. But if you're thinking about a huge amount of rain, the reason we ensure that people can park on neutral grounds, that's the highest part. And I would ask, if you are parking on a neutral ground, the Army Corps, in cooperation with the Sewage and Water Board in the city, spent millions of dollars to make those things very nice. So drive slowly when you get onto them. But you're also going to have to see patients in, like a bathtub, fills up, takes a little time for it to drain down. But we've aggressively cleaned catch basins and small drain lines unlike never before in the last 2 years. The Sewage and Water Board has aggressively cleaned out their canals. We have done as much as we can to ensure that the existing infrastructure for the Sewage and Water Board, which we know is very dated, operates, but it's fragile. As we knew in December when Turbine 5, which was 20 megawatts of fairly reliable power, stopped working, Mayor works with the governor, and we backstop funding a replacement of those 20 megawatts. So we should be in a much better place in terms of energy confidence for the hurricane season of 2021. But we know it's fragile. What I would ask is people be patient. This doesn't mean that we're looking at anything like, a devastating huge event. What you would likely see is street flooding and the kind of things you would see in, I think about July of last year, when it was a couple days before Hurricane Barry. We had a ton of rain. We may see something to that effect. Colin is our in-house weatherman, and he knows more about this than I would say. But I would really think about, if you saw a tremendous amount of flooding in July of 2019, we may see something to that effect or less, I would say. Less or more, we just don't necessarily know.
Let's see. Colin, want to add anything?
The drainage system in New Orleans is really an amazing system. New Orleans is 350 square miles. Half of that is water and half of it is land. So you're looking at 170 square miles of land that a drainage system pumps water from. At full capacity, it can reverse the flow of the Ohio River. It's incredible. But it's old and it has limitations, and so you have to manage sometimes expectations about what it can actually do. And from the weather side, I get up here all the time and I say, if we have 18 inches of rain over 3 days, we can probably handle that. But if we have 9 inches of rain in 2 hours, we're going to have issues. And so that's what I look at, or we look at up in the EOC very closely, is when you get caught in these training bands of rain. When you get dumped on 6, 7, 8 inches per hour rainfall rate, it's all about the rainfall rate. 10 inches of rain between now and Friday is completely manageable in this city. But 10 inches of rain in 2 or 3 hours is an issue. And so that's what we really have to, manage expectations about what can actually be drained and how long it will take. That's what I would say.
Just as a follow-up to that, before you step away, have you guys been in communication with the hotels that are sheltering Hurricane Laura evacuees, and have you looked into providing them with any resources or offered them any recommendations as they weather the storm?
So, yes, is the answer. And so what we've been doing since this started, when we started receiving our neighbors from Southwest Louisiana, is we stood up the Emergency Operations Center as a support and communications and coordination mechanism for that state operation. And it started with DCFS and DOTD helping with transportation and the initial move into the hotels. And it went from, I remember the first day it was 3 hotels, the second day it was 7, and then all of a sudden we're at about 37 now, so and 12,000 people. And so it's a huge, complex, coordinated effort to make sure we're communicating at these hotels. Now there's been a transition to the Red Cross from DCFS to manage all of these properties and the needs of the people. And what we've done with Hurricane Sally activation up there is we've folded in that entire operation. So we're continuing to kind of on 2 tracks. We're obviously looking at the Hurricane Sally effects, and then what kind of effects Hurricane Sally will have on our evacuees that are here. I can say that the state informed us this morning they are actually getting the electrically dependent evacuees that are here in the city, and they're going to take them to a medical special needs shelter in Gonzales. And I think that's a wise decision. It's a good forward thinking, and that's kind of the idea about this, is leaning forward, assessing need and addressing need.
Other questions?
And that was one of our first priorities, actually receiving our evacuees, understanding that we remained in the height of hurricane season. And so that was something that that conversation and that dialogue came from the City of New Orleans Office of Homeland Security, to get people to understand that now we have an additional 12,000 people that we need to take care of in the midst of taking care of our own residents and even visitors, other visitors to the city. So I'm just, glad that we remain forward thinking and prepared even for the unknown when we're always prepared, So it's both and. So with that, any further questions at this time? Yes, sir.
I know several years ago, we sort of kind of recite the capacity of the system for X inches per hour and then a certain amount after that. Do we have an updated estimate about what the sort of inches per hour capacity is of the drainage system?
Yeah, I think, we've gone over that and we've gone over that, but then even every event is different. And we want our people to understand that if we do get too much too soon, then we will take on water. It seems to be, an average of inch of rain an hour. We can kind of manage that. Anything above that, we're in kind of out of our ability to kind of handle it at the 100% magnitude that we would like. But instead of getting into that, we know that too much too soon. And I go back to that analogy even of a bathtub. I think it's the perfect one. Because if you let that bathwater run and run and run and run and it gets over and you then take the plug out, well, it's going to take some time to go down. And even when you think on the front end that it's not moving and you really don't see it moving until it gets down to the bottom, you're like, wow, it's fast. Well, it's always been fast. So it's just, how we think about it and turn the map around so that it helps us with our level of expectation and even an understanding of how our system works, but even a fragile system that's over 100 years old that had not been adequately maintained for decades. But us facing the challenges head on, and we haven't had 99 pumps out of 99 working in over 10 or 12 years around here. So it's a work in progress. It's almost like you're building it while you're flying it as well, because of how dilapidated we've allowed the system